Season 1 of the Overwatch League was absolutely incredible. It surpassed almost all of our expectations. There was so much action to keep up with. 12 teams competed over the course of 7 months weekly, which left us with hundreds of matches to watch, and some of them were absolutely amazing. Today, we are going to be counting down the top 10 Overwatch League matches of Season 1. A list like this is almost impossible to make because we all have our certain teams that we like to watch, our favorite players, and this makes some matches more exciting for others. But overall, I think I've created a really good list that all of us can enjoy. Starting off with number 10, going all the way back to Stage 1, Week 3, we have the very first battle for Los Angeles. This match was played on Wednesday, January 24th, and going into it, the Los Angeles Valiant and LA Gladiators were in a similar spot. Both of them just came off a loss from New York Excelsior in Week 2, and they were also sitting at the record of 2-2. This match would decide which team would propel into the top half of the standings and which team would fall to the bottom half. This match didn't start off all that close though. The LA Gladiators, they were having an easy time with the LA Valiant. On the first map, it was Eichenwald. They took it 3-1. LA Valiant, they struggled on their second push. Then moving into the second map, we had Horizon Lunar Colony. LA Gladiators took no prisoners here, and they first held the LA Valiant, going up 2-0 in this set, and it seemed like the LA Gladiators were going to be the kings of LA for now. But after halftime, the LA Valiant, they charged back onto the stage, and they were determined to make this an incredibly close match. And from here on out, that's exactly what it was. We went into map 3 Ilios, and both these teams were evenly matched. They went back and forth, LA Gladiators taking a round and the LA Valiant taking a round. Neither team wanted to give this map up. LA Gladiators, they could secure the set with it, and LA Valiant, they could stay alive. Of course, fittingly enough, it went all the way down to the last fight. Each team had 99% ticked up, and the winner of this would determine how this match would go forward. The LA Valiant came out on top in that last fight, changing the series score to 2-1 and switching the momentum into their hands. Moving on to the fourth map, we had Junkertown, which was usually an extremely exciting map to watch. And of course, the Los Angeles teams delivered us an amazing one. Both teams would push through the entire map, which gave us an overtime round. LA Valiant, they had a little bit more time, and they capitalized on this. They would win Junkertown, tie the series up 2-2, and would put themselves in position to get one of the very first reverse sweeps of Season 1. We'd move on to the fifth and final map, which would decide who was the winner of the very first battle for Los Angeles. It started off just like Ilios, each team winning one round, leaving us with the final one to decide who would be the kings of LA. It was somewhat close, but not close enough for the LA Gladiators. LA Valiant would come out on top, completing the second reverse sweep of Overwatch League. We're moving out of Stage 3, the Boston Uprising secure the perfect stage 10-0. Stage 3 really was the story of the Boston Uprising. They were the only team in all of Season 1 to go perfect in a stage, 10-0. And it seemed like every single match that the Boston Uprising played in during Stage 3 went to the fifth map, whether it was against London Spitfire, New York Excelsior, or one of the worst teams in the league like Florida Mayhem. It just didn't matter though, because at the end of the day, Boston Uprising came out on top. Every match Boston played in that stage was so damn close, and it's almost impossible to pick one that was the most exciting. But we're going to have to go with the Week 3 matchup against the London Spitfire. Boston really looked down and out in this set. With a 0-2 deficit, it seemed like they were finally going to lose their streak, but they battled back with a reverse sweep, and at the end of it all, Striker cried in front of the entire world. It truly was amazing. Moving on to the 8th best match of the Overwatch League Season 1, we're going to Stage 4, looking at Week 5, one of the very last sets played. It's going to be Dallas Fuel taking on the LA Valiant. Not only did this match have implications on the Stage 4 playoffs, it had implications on Overwatch League history. In Stage 4, the LA Valiant were the best team in the league. They were sitting at 9-0 going into this match, and they had an opportunity to complete the perfect stage, going 10-0 just like the Boston Uprising did in the previous stage. But on the other side of this match, we had the Dallas Fuel, who were on an upswing. The first 3 stages for them was filled with drama and losing. So after all that drama and losing, having a chance to make a playoff would have been insane. Also, we can't forget the fact that they were in position to deny the Los Angeles Valiant history. There was a lot riding on this match, and it was actually a very close one, despite the Dallas Fuel coming out on top 3-1. So that's ranked number 8. We'll definitely revisit this situation later on into the list, but let's go ahead and move on to number 7. And we're going all the way back to Stage 1, Week 3, we have Philadelphia Fusion taking out the Giants, New York Excelsior, showing the whole entire world that yes, the Koreans are beatable. This match was super exciting, mainly because Philadelphia Fusion coming into it were 2-2. They hadn't looked that great in the Overwatch League. Matter of fact, one of their most recent matches, they got reverse swept by the LA Gladiators, who also had an iffy record at the time, 2-2. Then we had the Gods, New York Excelsior, coming into this match sitting at 4-0 with a map record so far of 14-2, looking practically unbeatable. It was really hard to even consider giving Philadelphia a chance at winning this match. This set was an exciting one. It went back and forth. New York Excelsior taking the first map 2-1. Philadelphia Fusion firing back with a 2-1 victory in the second map. Then New York Excelsior in the third map, another 2-1 victory. It was super close. Fourth map, guess what? Philadelphia Fusion, 2-1 victory. But then in the fifth and final tiebreaker map on Control, Philadelphia Fusion shut out the New York Excelsior 2-0, shocking the world. This match meant a lot to the whole entire Overwatch League. Without Philadelphia Fusion winning this, who knows if anybody would have ever stopped New York Excelsior. Philly definitely set the bar high here, letting everybody know in the league that they're all there to play and anybody can win at any time. I guess Shanghai Dragons just forgot that memo though. Anyways, that's going to be rank 7. Let's move on to number 6. And the funny thing about our rank 6 match is that it happened right before the rank 7 match on our list, guys. That's right, we're looking at stage 1, week 3, Boston Uprising upsets the London Spitfire. You goddamn know it was a magical day in the Overwatch League when we had back-to-back upsets against the Korean gods, London Spitfire and New York Excelsior. I had to put this one above the New York and Philly match just because it happened first and there was more shock value because of it. I'm sure some could argue that there was more shock value for the second one because it was 2 in a row, but seeing the Boston Uprising, the team that was labeled as one of the worst, a joke of the league, many said, going into season 1, be able to defeat the undefeated London Spitfire at the time, who was an absolute powerhouse, built from champions of Apex, the best teams of Korea. Somehow, the Boston Uprising with these unknown players, Straker, Note, Kelix, Gamsu, were able to take them down is insane. This has to be one of my favorite matches personally because it showed everybody what Boston was capable of. And I truly do believe that this match gave Philadelphia Fusion confidence going into the match after this one to beat the New York Excelsior. Regardless of how we rank these two matches, the fact is that they were both incredible and two of the best of the entire season. Now moving on to rank 5, we're going to revisit what we talked about earlier. Remember when the Dallas Field defeated the LA Valiant to crush Valiant's dreams of going 10-0 and keep their playoff hopes alive? Well, this next match continues that story, and it was the match between Philadelphia Fusion and London Spitfire. Now this match didn't mean anything for Philly. They couldn't make the stage 4 playoffs, but for London, there was a chance they could make it if they beat Philadelphia. But if they lose, that would propel the Dallas Field into the stage 4 playoffs. And I know you guys remember watching this match and just praying that Philly would somehow win it. And the funny thing about it is that Philadelphia Fusion and London Spitfire, despite being in the grand finals together, were both slumping super hard in stage 4, which created a very sloppy and chaotic match. It was that type of match where you expect the unexpected. You just did not know what was going to happen or who would win. It was personally one of my craziest experiences watching the Overwatch League during season 1. I uploaded a live reaction to this match. I was freaking out. There's a live reaction from the Dallas Fuel players of them freaking out. Philadelphia Fusion was able to win it, which did put the Dallas Fuel in stage 4 playoffs, which we will visit later on into this list, but that's going to be my rank number 5. And we're moving on to the actual playoffs of the Overwatch League. We have the New York Excelsior versus Philadelphia Fusion second set. This was incredible. Philadelphia Fusion, they proved in stage 1 they could take down the Koreans, but nobody expected them to actually do it in the overall playoffs. Even with the New York Excelsior looking weak in stage 4, Monte Cristo and a lot of the community just blamed it on sandbagging. Maybe it's because New York just seems so damn unstoppable throughout the entire regular season. With Philadelphia Fusion sweeping New York Excelsior 3-0 in the first set of this best of 3 sets, we all expected New York Excelsior to bounce back in that second set, and they tried. They really did try. Going to the 5th map with Philadelphia, we were on Dorado, and my goodness, this map was crazy. It felt like New York Excelsior was going to do it and push this series into a 3rd set. Their attack was looking unstoppable. They got to the 3rd point of Dorado without even losing a fight. But then Philadelphia Fusion, they swapped their composition up and they stood strong and tall and held the New York Excelsior for nearly 5 minutes, punching their ticket to the grand finals. This was it, the end of the Giants. Korean gods from New York were dead. Their season was over and it was almost impossible to believe. The entire season, New York was set up to be the champion, and if not the champions, at least be in the final. So for me, this was a huge match match, one of the craziest of the entire season, and that's why it's sitting at rank 4. Moving on to rank 3, we're going to be discussing the Stage 4 playoffs. Now hear me out, guys. I know this isn't one match, and it's really hard to have to pick one of them. Because how could we not, guys? Stage 4 playoffs were nuts. Both the semifinals went to Game 5. We had the last battle for Los Angeles of the season. We witnessed the Dallas Fuel almost reverse sweep the New York Excelsior. And then, of course, the finals, Los Angeles Valiant taking out the New York Excelsior, denying them what could have been their third stage victory in a row. The matches were just insane. How can you guys force me to pick one from that Stage 4 playoff? If I absolutely had to pick one, though, I would go with the Dallas Fuel and New York Excelsior Stage 4 semifinal playoff match. The main reason I'm going with this one is because it was so damn unexpected. And by the time we got to map 5, only God knew what was gonna happen. We started off with New York Excelsior taking a quick 2-0 lead, but then hope came and Dallas Fuel delivered us 2 map victories in a row, putting us in a scenario where the Dallas Fuel could literally be reverse sweeping the greatest team so far of Season 1. And then again, another turn. New York Excelsior crushes our dreams and ends the hopes of all that the Dallas Fuel could maybe win a stage playoff. It was insane, guys. One of the greatest Overwatch League viewing experiences of the entire season has to be the Stage 4 playoffs. I loved every second of it. And now moving on to number 2, I am forced to pick another match from a stage playoff. We're going to Stage 1, and we're talking about the London Spitfire's run through Stage 1 playoffs, and a little bit before that, because the context really matters here. So in Stage 1, Week 5, the London Spitfire had to face off against the Houston Outlaws and the New York Excelsior. In London's first match against Houston, Houston was fighting for their playoff lives. If they would win this match against London, they would secure themselves a match against Boston, which would decide who makes the playoffs. Well, Houston surprisingly made easy work of the London Spitfire, then went on to have an incredible match against Boston Uprising, which by the way is definitely an honorary mention for this list. Boston Uprising versus Houston Outlaws Stage 1 Week 5 was a tiebreaker because both these teams were tied evenly at the end of Stage 1, and they needed an extra match to decide who would go on to the playoffs and face London Spitfire. Now moving on to the second match that London played that week, which was against the New York Excelsior, who had already confirmed themselves as the number 1 seed in the Stage 1 playoffs, so they had an automatic bye to the final. And New York just destroyed London. It wasn't even close. And this left London to face off against Houston in that first round of the playoffs. And some people expected Houston to win because they had an easy victory against the London Spitfire literally 3 days ago. Well, London Spitfire proved that they were better in the clutch and when the match mattered, and they took out the Houston Outlaws 3-1. It wasn't even really that close. Then they went on to the grand finals against New York Excelsior, another team who had just stomped them 2 days ago. I'm talking a day ago, basically, guys. And what happens? London goes down in this set 0-2, and everybody's thinking, wow, New York Excelsior is absolutely the most dominant team right now in the Overwatch League. Nobody can contest them. But then London Spitfire, they hit that crazy playoff switch where they all start to pop off, and they somehow managed to pull off a reverse sweep. And it was so unexpected. Literally 30% of the viewers for this match had already left because they assumed New York was going to win after the halftime break. London truly pulled off a crazy moment in the Overwatch League that I will never forget. But it isn't the most memorable match of the season. There's one more left, guys. We're moving on to one of the first games of the entire season. We have the Dallas Fuel versus Seoul Dynasty, Stage 1, Week 1. Day 1. I know you guys have been waiting for this one, and yeah, that's right, it's number 1 on my list. How could you forget it? Going into the Overwatch League, the Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty were ranked as the best teams, both championship contenders. This was the Overwatch League Grand Finals preview on day 1, because to be honest, before the league started, they were the best teams. Dallas Fuel, which was envious, they completely dominated the North American region, and even won a championship in Korea. As for Seoul Dynasty, they were known as Lunatic High, one of the most dominant teams in Korea history, winning back-to-back seasons of Overwatch Apex. This was the most hyped up match, the Super Bowl, already on day 1, and oh my goodness, did these teams deliver. I will never forget the Anubis matchup they had. Back and forth, both teams constantly capping. Also the debut of XQC. There was so much happening in this match. Effect was on projectile. Junkertown, I have no words to explain how crazy this match was. It was the two giants colliding. And I know it's funny looking back at it, knowing that neither of them even made the playoffs and that Dallas Fuel was even a complete wreck. So was Seoul Dynasty. But this was the match. This was it. I'm pretty sure it was the highest viewed match of the entire season. How could that not be number one? I'm sure some of you guys will disagree with my list, but that's fine. Just be sure to comment down below letting me know what you disagree with. I'll try my best to respond. Let's keep it friendly though, guys. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, like, whew, what are you doing, boys? We are giving away over 350 items of merchandise from the Overwatch League store, guys. I'm talking jerseys, hats, socks, scarves, shirts, like, we have it all. If you want some Overwatch League merchandise, subscribe. And just stay tuned for more details because they will come out, guys. I'm giving it all away, no doubt. You guys seen the video of me pretty much dancing and throwing it all at the camera. I have it, and I will be giving it away to all of you guys, my subscribers. Stay tuned for more information on it, but for now, just subscribe, stay in the loop, watch my videos daily, and you'll know when it goes down. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this entire video. If you made it all the way to end, write hashtag down in the comments, made it to the end. I'll be sure to drop a heart on you and try to respond to all of you. Thank you again, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.